Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are almost at the end of November. It is an exciting time. We're going to go ahead and get started here, and this is being recorded, and it'll be posted on the Freedom Tree later today. So for those that have team members that can't get on live, I know we're going to be having people joining as we go, but we're going to go ahead and get started right now. But the recording will be available for those that want to share with their teams, and so please encourage and even send the link to your team so that they make sure that they don't miss this. It's going to be fantastic. So this has been, well, let me just back up and say that yes, this has been an amazing month, but October was also an amazing month. And that is a big reason why we are having this call, is because we had a lot of incredible rank promotions in October. Of course, we're expecting, we've already had a lot of great, amazing promotions in November, and we're not done yet. So wow, 2 fantastic months back to back, and we're heading into December and the holiday season, which is also a fantastic opportunity to really get some growth going in your business. But October, we were so thrilled as a team to welcome 2 new diamonds. We have 2 fantastic leaders joining us today who both rank advanced to the rank of diamond in October. So I am going to move right into our interviews because we have them both joining us here today. And we're going to start with Lindsey Gale. Lindsey, let's see, are you here? Do you have your camera?
I am. Can you hear me?
Here you are. Yes, we've got Lindsey, and then we've got Alisha LaTour, and we'll be hearing from her in just a little bit too. So I couldn't be more thrilled to have these 2 beautiful women joining us and sharing a little bit about their journey to diamond, their doTERRA process. Everyone's story is so unique and so different. And diamond, there's Alisha. Hello, Alisha.
Hi.
Diamond is such a target goal for so many people. It's such a big achievement in doTERRA. It's really that gateway into the very highest ranks of the company. It's where the income change is extremely significant, can make a big difference in families and in teams. So we're celebrating with you both. We're really excited, and I'm going to try to talk less and let you guys share, because I want our team to be able to hear from your experience and your wisdom. There's nothing like hearing what it was like to go through the process from beginning all the way to diamond. And so we're going to get a few glimpses into that. So Lindsey, I would love for you to just tell us a little bit about what that moment was like in October when you realized this is happening, I'm going diamond. What did that feel like? What was it like?
It's definitely a surreal experience, after having a pretty long doTERRA journey already. I think when we realized in October, this is happening, we're really going to do it, it was totally surreal. We were in Prague doing this amazing, mind-blowing training, and I had decided before going to Prague that we were going to have everything situated for our team before we left, and we were really just going to focus on the training while we were there. But I looked at my back office and I said, I think we're there. And so I called my mentor, Jen, and I said, what do you think? Is this totally crazy? And she said, it's not crazy, do it. And so she was a huge help to me. She was kind of, my person on the ground in the States, because all I had was my cell phone, because I was determined not to work in Prague. So it was really just an amazing feeling when we realized it was actually going to happen.
And let me just make a little note for those of you listening. Both of our new diamonds here were in Prague at our team retreat, which was at the very end of the month. And if there were ever a reason to say, not this month, I'm not going to be doing an end of the month push, it probably would have been in October when, we were in Eastern Europe. The time zone was completely flip-flopped. Communication was really difficult, and we were busy. We were busy in trainings and like from sun up to sundown. And so there were very few moments, a lot of late nights, I would imagine, because that's when it was daytime over here. So I think that's just a huge, amazing, inspiring story that, sometimes we think, not this month, I'm busy, I have this going on, I have this going on. These two ladies were across the globe with busyness all day long, and they still managed to do their push because they wanted it. So that is really exciting. You were in Prague when you realized it was happening, right? And then you were in, was it London when it actually finished up?
We were in London when I did my really big push, because we were flying from London to the States on the last day of the month. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to have any time to do anything. And so
For internet.
yeah, it was crazy. So we had done as much as we could in London. I was sitting on the floor of my hotel room in the middle of the night in London after a day of touring, just talking with all of my leaders, making sure all of the orders were in place. It was so fun. It was such a just totally surreal experience. It couldn't have been more magical. And then we just had a couple final things that we pulled together once we got stateside in Denver. I was sitting in the rental car, and that's when we actually hit diamond. So it was all just a really amazing and magical experience.
That is so amazing and magical. Okay, so Lindsey, for those of you who haven't heard your story, you just mentioned that it'd been it felt long. You said it just was amazing that it finally happened. It had felt like such a long process. Tell us a little bit about your history with doTERRA, and when did you start building, and then specifically, when did you decide, I'm going to be a diamond someday. I'm going to fully commit myself to the process of becoming diamonds. Like what was your motivation for doing that, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say that doTERRA really found our family when we were at rock bottom and really struggling financially. I remember we were at your first class, Tanya, and I remember sitting there listening to Melissa thinking, okay, I'm going to save up so that eventually someday I can buy a bottle of Melaleuca, because I really want to try it for my sinuses, because you had shared your story, how that had been so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just really struggling. I was working full-time as a mental health therapist, and my husband was a stay-at-home dad, and it wasn't an ideal situation for either of us. And then it was kind of miracle after miracle. Alisha LaTour took me to an aroma touch class, and sitting there listening to Peggy Smith, I just had this incredible realization listening to her that these oils were going to absolutely change our lives. And Allie bought me my enrollment kit, and we started using the oils and started having amazing experiences. And so we were in from the beginning, and we changed our grocery budget so that we could make our qualifying orders, and we started sharing right away. But I mean, it was challenging for us as a family, because we had just come through a really hard season. We were living in pretty difficult circumstances. We had gone for months without any running water in our home. We had 2 small kids. And so whenever someone comes to me and says, I don't know if I can build this business, I don't know if I have the time, or, things are hard for us right now, I say, that's exactly the reason why you must build this business. And doTERRA really was the vehicle that God used to absolutely transform our lives. I think I had a vision for building the business right away. And all of us were starting. I mean, you had just started, Tanya, Melissa had just started. None of us necessarily had a super clear vision for how to do any of it, but we just all started sharing. And it's been a really amazing journey. Right in the beginning, for me, I really felt like God kind of clearly told me that if we focused on loving and serving people, that He would be the one who would build our business. And that really has been kind of our anchor and our true north throughout the process. But also combined with that, it's not like a sit back and just watch it happen journey. It's very much a journey of proactivity. And I can tell you, every single time that we rank advanced, it was during a season of massive action. So when we hit silver and Tanya, you went Diamond, we had just done this really big push. It was kind of like almost our own version of Diamond Club, where we contacted all of our family, friends, and everyone we can think of across the country, and we took a road trip. We taught classes with people who weren't enrolled, people who'd never even tried oils. You know, it's kind of like calling in a favor, like, hey, do a class for us. And that was really the big launch to our business. And so we taught all of those classes, and we were in Chicago when we went silver. And then it was when we were in Diamond Club, that was around the time just before Diamond Club when I was able to quit my full-time job. And that was amazing. And we said, you know, this is really when we're going to do another big push. And so I did Diamond Club. It was so expensive to travel out of Bozeman. I went and stayed with my parents in Colorado for about 6 weeks and took our kids there. And my parents were amazing, and they watched the kids while I traveled the country doing Diamond Club. And it was crazy. I mean, I was teaching sometimes 10 classes a week all over the country. It was really an amazing time to connect with all of our team members, some of whom we had never met or had never ever been to a live class. And it was during Diamond Club that we went gold. And then when we were traveling again, doing lots of work with our Chicago team, is when we went platinum. And then finally this time around, isn't it crazy? It's a really interesting theme in our business, but when we kind of took that leap of faith, you know, and said, okay, we're going to do Prague. And it was on a huge sacrifice by my family. I think everyone who went, you know, our family sacrifice when we're out of town for a long time. And we said, this is really an important investment for our business. And so we went to Prague, and that's when we went Diamond. And so I really think that in our businesses, it is that concept of, you know, having faith and really believing in the journey, and also taking massive action when the time for that comes.
That's so
There's another
amazing.
part of your question, Tanya, that I'm missing though. What was the second part?
I think I just asked kind of what was your motivation that made you decide that you wanted Diamond?
Yeah, okay, thanks. I would say really that motivation initially was just, we had to have a change in our finances. We had to. We were so in a stuck place, and we were really feeling quite hopeless. And so I think that thought of wanting to really change our circumstances was the initial catalyst. But it very quickly grew to something a lot bigger than that, because I think that, you know, once you're in doTERRA long enough to see people really start building a business, you realize, yeah, I get to change my financial situation, and that is incredible. But it's so much bigger than that, because we really have the opportunity to change the lives of people all around us, both through sharing the business opportunity, but even more than that, through all of the ways that we get to be generous and give back and honestly, very truly change the world. And so that has been, for us, the driving force, you know, just really having that passion and vision for ways that we can give back and serve people in a really profound and powerful way.
That's so awesome. I just have to say, I have been so inspired by watching your story unfold. You know, I've watched your story from before doTERRA, and it just brings me so much joy. And what really is inspiring to me is, and I know that there's a whole, you know, village effort here, and you have a whole team that's amazing that has really helped to propel your business. But honestly, just watching you and Kenny take full ownership over your situation and just decide that you wanted something different, and you went out and you did it and you built it. And there's very few people in the world who are willing to go to the lengths that you've gone to really change things for your family, and then to let that overflow into the lives of others is, I mean, it's so inspiring to me, and it just brings me so much joy that's your story, and that's something that we can all draw from and do more of that in our own lives. So that is really, really awesome.
Thanks.
Okay, so what I want to ask you next is, those times when you feel stuck, when your business doesn't feel like it's moving forward, because there isn't any of us that haven't gone through those times. And those days when you question, is Diamond even possible? is it even possible that I can get there? Am I just fooling myself? Is it too hard? Are these obstacles too great? All of those doubts that creep into our mind. Can you share a little bit about maybe a time or what your process was in those times of discouragement, feeling stuck, doubting whether or not you would ever get there? And, what was your process in that? And then what helped you to keep going on, to persevere and to recommit yourself through those difficult seasons?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's so true that we all get stuck in our businesses in different places. And I think we all have those seasons where we feel so overwhelmed. And I definitely had those points where I felt like I wasn't adequate, that I maybe wasn't the leader that my team needed, or I wasn't big enough to fill the shoes. And I definitely have my fair share of memories of sitting in my room crying, thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And the personal growth journey is so real. I mean, I truly believe that the doTERRA journey has absolutely transformed me. And every level that we reach, we have to become a new level of ourselves with, more maturity and personal development and growth. And so, I would say some of the places where I have felt the most stuck, I felt really stuck at silver. We were silver for 18 months. And I still remember when I hit silver, I thought, I'm going to be gold in like 3 months. And the path was so clear to me. And I just was so certain of all of the pieces falling into place. And when that didn't happen, and it continued not to happen, and, we went through various struggles with our team and had some leaders that maybe weren't ready to go on the journey with us, and trying to figure out how to work that on our team. Those are challenging places. And I would say I hit another really tough personal growth point when we were platinum. We were platinum for 2 years, and it's really the rank. It's so funny when you hit platinum, everyone's like, platinum's the rank that's just like a skipping stone. Most people are there like a month or two, and then you're diamond, yay. And that got really hard to hear when we were platinum, month after month after month, and then a year, and so I think for us, we did lots of introspection. What are the missing pieces? What are the things that are holding us back? What are the roadblocks? And there's always, in my opinion, there's always a personal growth piece when we're stuck. And, obviously platinum, that's been the last 2 years. And so I can really clearly look at that and see, I had a lot of growth to do in terms of maybe engaging with crucial conversations with our leaders, and being more direct, and learning to really maintain some healthy boundaries, both in my personal life and my professional life. And not to say that we ever reach perfection in any of those things, but I think that when we're stuck for a while, it's a really great opportunity to see, where do I get to grow in my business so that I can do this better? And then I feel like after having that introspection, it's also a really great time to ask, what is the massive action that I can create? And so when we were stuck at silver, eventually that's what led us to do Diamond Club. And wow, did that ever totally change our lives and help us to break out of that and to break into gold. And, I think that when we were stuck for so long with platinum, so much of it was just becoming the leader for our team, and really believing that we could be a leader for our team. And so again, just that personal growth journey. And then I think that massive action that creates the momentum to carry us into the next level.
That's, I know that there were a lot of disappointing days when you really thought that diamond move was going to be happening, really soon. And then it just wasn't quite there. And your perseverance has been amazing to me, because I know that there's moments where it would have been really easy to just be frustrated, but you persevered, and you were there when you were meant to be there, and you're there as a stronger person, a stronger leader, both you and Kenny, because there is such a learning process as we go, and it's a hard thing. When we're there, we feel ready for it, and then when we finally get there, I've had the same experience. I look back and realize I wasn't ready for it, and
Yes,
there was things that I needed to move through in order to be prepared. So yeah, it's really just exciting and fantastic. Okay, so can you give a summary or a description of what doTERRA, your journey, not just hitting diamond, but the journey along the way, what has that done for you and for your family? How has that changed from your life before to where you are as a family right now?
yeah, it's a great question. I love that. I love thinking about how it is a transformation, not just for ourselves personally or professionally, but it's totally transformative for our families. And like I mentioned, we were in such a hard place as a family when doTERRA found us, and everything has changed about the way that our family functions. The first thing that pops into my mind is that we totally got to spend 18 months traveling full time in our RV, going around and teaching classes and supporting our team. And even more than that, honestly, we spent a lot more time
Mm-hmm.
just getting to have a beautiful family adventure, and so many days of walking the beaches along the West Coast and looking for seashells and adventuring in the redwood forest. All of these memories that we got to create with our kids at this really beautiful young age. And I just think that opportunity is because of doTERRA. I mean, we literally just, we went where we wanted to go, and we didn't have anything holding us back. And I think that the freedom that we get to create with doTERRA, uh, where we get to decide how much time do I want to spend pouring life into my kids, and how much time do I want to spend pouring life into my business. To be the master of that domain is the most incredible privilege I think I can imagine as a parent and as a business owner. And it's amazing. And it's absolutely a challenge, right, to figure out that good balance. But it's also so amazing that we get to have the choice to make it what we want it to be. So I would say that's been one of the hugest impacts on our family.
Awesome. That's so fun. I can relate to a lot of that. It's overwhelming when you think about even just the memories that we get to treasure as a family because of the freedom. It's all about the freedom. That's why we're the freedom tree. That's why, that's just it's a unique thing to have in our world, is to have freedom of choice for what you want your days to look like and your time with your family to look like. And what a privilege to have that. I'm so happy for your family that you do have that. So if you could choose a word, put you on the spot a little bit here. If you can choose one word to describe your doTERRA journey, what word would you choose?
I really feel like everything that we do in doTERRA, our personal growth journey, our health journey, just of using the oils and having that transformed, and then that amazing journey of getting to lead others in their own process. I continually come back to this place of, it's a harvest. We sow the seed, and we invest the time, and we pour our passion into it, just like watering the ground, and then we come to this point of harvest. And so I think if I had to pick one word, I probably would choose that it's just an incredible harvest.
That is really beautiful. I love that. Love that word. Okay, well, we're not done hearing from Lindsey. I'm going to have you kind of hang tight, Lindsey. I'm going to be bringing Alisha on, and then I want to kind of wrap it up at the end with both of you with some final thoughts. So I'm so grateful for your story. And I just also want to make a note that there's a really great call from a few years ago. Well, I think it was when you went platinum, wasn't it, Lindsey?
I think
It's
so.
an audio call, conference call recorded, but it is on the Freedom Tree. We should see if we can pull that back up. If I know that on that call, we got to go into Lindsey's story of getting her business started a lot more detail. And I just want to encourage our listeners to even go back a couple of years and listen to that if you want to know more about her and her story and Kenny's story. I think, was he even on that call? I think he may have been.
I think he was, yeah. I think that call was when we were traveling full time.
I think so.
I think he was on there, yeah.
It's one of my favorites. It's a great one. So I'd highly recommend going back and listening to that if you never have or you want to refresh it. Okay, let's bring Alisha on. Hi, Alisha. Congratulations on your new
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. We're excited.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to ask you too, when you hit Diamond and you were in Prague as well, and kind of in that whole transition of like being in Prague and then traveling home right at the end of the month, what was it like when you finally realized, oh my gosh, this is happening. Diamond is happening. Can you just describe that experience? I think everyone always wonders, like, what will it be like when it finally happens? So that's why I love asking this question.
So it's kind of surreal, but I have to go back and say, I remember.
Hang on, Alisha, 1 second. You're cutting out. I'm not sure we have a good signal on you here.
Let me move and see if that helps.
Yeah, your video is kind of choppy, and then your audio was coming in and out too. So let me check my signal as well. I think I'm good.
All right, is this better?
That does sound better. Your video is still a little choppy, but as long as we can hear you, I think.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I could hear you guys perfect earlier.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, are you still good?
I think so. Let's give it a try and see.
Okay, so you had told us before we left to plan before we left because we knew we were going to be gone for like 2 weeks. So I was like totally planning 2.5 weeks of just nothing but working my tail off. So I had class after class after class in my personal classes because I knew
early October, right? Early October. Yeah.
Exactly, because I knew I wasn't going to be here. And so I was like, if this is going to happen, like I have to have enrollments. I have to be prepared.
So you had in your mind October was going to be your Diamond Push month from the beginning.
Well, I had that every month. Every month was, I'm going to be Diamond this month. But that's how I have to work because I have to have a goal.
Uh-huh.
So I had worked my tail off. And so I had a ton of enrollments. I think it was 10 or 11 personal enrollments that month. And so I had all this volume, and it was really good volume that I kept thinking, okay, if this is going to happen, it might happen while I'm gone. And then I would say like middle of the week that we were there, I checked my back office and I was like, this really might happen. And so I said something to Angela and she was like, you would think so? I was like, I think so. I think the numbers jive. And then I had a couple questions on like how to do some things. And then after we got done with our classes at night, I would go back to my room and spend an hour or two, like to midnight hour, where we were at. And then trying to get everything, figured up on paper first before I moved everybody.
Which is exhausting because you were jet lagged to start with. And with those days were long, I could barely keep my eyes open by 10 o'clock. So
it was exhausting, but I kind of had it all figured out on paper. And then I said, okay, I think we can do this. And so then me and John stayed up one night. That was like one of the last nights, and we moved everyone we needed to. And we still were just a little bit short. And so you guys are going to laugh, but we actually did it on the plane. On the plane, in the air. We were there for 7 hours in the plane, and we bought the internet, and me and him sat there on the plane, and we figured out what we had to do. And then we did it, and then he woke me up like an hour later and taken the picture.
And so you
said, look, and it was like, oh my God. Yeah, so it was on the airplane. It'll be forever remembered that we actually did it on the airplane.
Those airline passengers had no idea what went down on that flight and how big of a
and like I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. I was just like, oh my word. And we just both, it was just a huge, like, okay, we did this. It was a huge milestone for us. And this is really happening, so super thankful. Of course, Prague was unbelievable. And that just had us come home with fueling our fire. Like, we were ready to rock and roll. We got home. And so it's just been a huge blessing. Just the encouragement that we get from, hitting the rank that you've been working at for years. Yeah.
How fun that both of you left your kids and your family platinums, and when you came back to hug your kids, you were diamonds. I just think that's so fun.
And we did that. We walked in the door, and of course we saw them that evening, and we said, "We have a surprise for you." And of course they always said, "Are you having another baby?" And we said, "No, Mommy's not having another baby. We hit diamond." And they were screaming and yelling and super excited. And now they just, like, when we're out and about, they'll tell strangers, "My mom's diamond." And the people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, it's totally in my job and what I do. It's super great. They're just excited.
That's so fun.
It's been fun.
I love that. Okay, Alisha, can we kind of jump back to the beginning with you as well? And can you give us a little overview of what your process was coming into doTERRA, and really specifically when you decided that diamond was in your path, that you were going to become a diamond someday, and you committed yourself to that process? Because that diamond decision is a big decision. It's more than just saying, I'm going to build this business. It's when we decide, I'm going to build this diamond or this business and I'm going to become a diamond. That's a whole other level of commitment. So what was that process like for you when you made that decision? What was it that motivated you to decide to embrace that in your life? And what was kind of that process and that journey like? That's a whole huge question, but if you could kind of give us an overview.
So I would say that for us, it was a little bit different. Jonathan wasn't on board at first because, income was not the issue for us. He was a great provider. I had started using the oils for Joel, for my little boy. We were seeing huge benefits with him. And then of course I just started doing tons of research, learned about the oils. And then I started sharing, and then I needed, like, I think it was $300 a month is what I ended up saying. I need that. Do you think I could earn that, Angela? And she literally laughed at me on the phone. And I was like, wow, $300 a month is a lot of money. I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, that's a lot of money for me. And I wanted $300 a month to put back for him so that we could eventually, when he has to go live with, he has Down syndrome, for those that you guys that don't know. And I was thinking one day he's going to have to live with the other kids, and I don't want him to ever be a burden on them or their families. And so I just want to put that money back from him, for him. And so that was my first goal. And so Angela literally laughed at me, and I thought, okay, yeah, that's not funny. Like, $300 is a lot of money. And she said, just trust me, just trust this process and trust me, and you can earn $300 a month. So I did, and I did what she told me to do. And within just a few months, I would say it was like a month, maybe a month and a half, I was earning $300 a month. And I thought, well, man, if that's the case, then, maybe I could how do I make this next rank? Like, what is this about? And so she said, the next rank, that I really want you to shoot for is silver. And so she helped me get there within just a few months. And that was like, when I hit silver, it kind of clicked with me, like, I can do this. Like, I understand how this works, how this business works, and I think I can do this. And so then I started meeting some of my upline, which I did not know very well. And I realized that their husbands don't do a 9-to-5, that they have, time freedom. And that's something that we don't have, or we didn't have. Let me put it that way. John worked, more than 9-to-5. I mean, he works, 12, 14-hour days. And so with us having 6 children, I was like, how cool would it be for Dad to be home? Like, him not have to go to work every single day. How cool would that be? And like, what could we do as a family? And so it goes back to what she was talking about, the things that you can invest in your family. And so that's kind of when it started clicking with me, like, maybe this is something that I could do where we could have more family time and we could spend time together. So I just kind of put it in high gear, and I just did exactly what my upline told me to do. And I started having classes, and I did Diamond Club the following fall, and I hit gold that fall, which I was super excited about. And then a whole nother year went by, and we hit platinum again last winter. and then Diamond this past winter. So it's been about 3.5 years since I've been using doTERRA, about 3 years building the business.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that's kind of like how my journey happened. I did Diamond Club twice. I did Diamond Club, the first year that we were doing doTERRA, and that was huge for our team. It just helped explode. And then I did it again this past spring.
Okay, I have to stop you.
Yeah.
Alisha didn't just do Diamond Club again. For those that don't know, Alisha was the grand prize Diamond Club winner of all of doTERRA in the U.S. market this last season or last year. So in the spring, correct?
Yeah, in the spring. And so I went in knowing what it took because I had
really hard at it. Yeah.
And I had a game plan of, okay, let's just do what we know what we can do. And then I realized like 2 weeks in, when I was like up at the top, I was like, my word, I'm like at the top. I think I could keep up with this. And so I am going to be honest, Diamond Club is rough. Like Diamond Club is rough, especially if you do it at the pace that we were doing it. And like, I would say 2 months in this last time in the spring, I called Angela and I said, I don't know if we can do this. Like, I don't know if me and my husband can hold up doing this at the rate we're doing it. And is this really going to pay off? Mm-hmm. And I was asking that because, when you're not at the higher ranks, when you're not in, even platinums and I was platinum and I was, a solid platinum, but still your income, you're thinking, is it going to ever get where you start seeing money that your whole family can live off and you can have retirement? You start really, okay, is this for real? And so I called her and I said, okay, you just have to shoot straight with me. Like, is this for real? You've been doing this for this many years and I need to know that I'm making, because I was sacrificing. I was sacrificing family time. I was sacrificing every single night of the week. I was gone for Diamond Club. And so she said, trust me, this is for real. And if you can just finish it out, you'll be glad you did. And so I said, okay. I said, I just need you to help me pray that I can pull this together and that John will understand and that he was supportive, super supportive, but you're talking, a lot of effort in Diamond Club. And so it was hard. It was really, really hard for us. And especially when we knew that, okay, there was a potential that we could win Diamond Club. But the momentum that you gain from Diamond Club, and I think she would agree, is that you have huge momentum for your team and it just boosts your whole team. And so it was worth it for us to do that. And then of course we went to Prague and that was just unbelievable for us.
Mm-hmm. I love this theme I'm hearing between both of your stories is that, the awesome rewards don't ever happen in life unless you take those risks and those leaps of faith and those making the sacrifice before you see the reward. And you're both such great examples of taking that leap when it doesn't feel sure sometimes. And that's just, stepping out in faith and being willing to take some risks in life is critical, because if we stay in that little comfort place and we never take a risk and we never take those steps into the unknown, then we never get those amazing moments that we kind of just settle. So I love that you're both just women of courage in that sense. So, and I love how Diamond Club played into both of your journeys. All right. So Alisha, you've talked a little bit about this, but let's dig into it a little bit more. Those moments of huge doubt when maybe you feel stuck, you're not seeing the progress that you thought that you would see. We all have those dates when we see our goal date come and go, and we still haven't advanced, or even months when things have shrunk back a little bit, or we just aren't seeing that progress, and we're pouring in and we're sacrificing. What was it that helped you to overcome the doubts and the questions and to push on and to keep re-solidifying your commitment to your goal?
So I do want to just say that I have so many of my leaders that will contact me and say, and I think they think that we don't experience this. And I think we should talk about some things that we experience. I mean, I have come to classes and no one show up. I mean, that happens, but am I there? Yes. When I'm there, what do? If no one shows up, then I use that time to help do something doTERRA. That was big. Another thing is we have people who we might have helped that choose to enroll with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're leaders too. That happens to us. So don't get to, don't be saying that I just can't do this. That happens to all of us. We have leaders that quit. And I have leaders on my team that have said, you know what, I don't want to do this. I don't see how this, I can spend the time that I need. So we have those too. We have leaders that don't want to move at the pace that we want to move. And so you just have to learn to meet them where they are and support them where they are. Elise said this, and I even had a mentor call this morning, and it really, it's easier to give birth than raise people from the dead. And so, you know what? I just meet them where they are, and then I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Angela, several years ago, we do a lot of times our mentoring whenever she's doing therapy with Joel, because it's a good time for us to talk and she can work with him at the same time. And a lot of times when I would come to her with like, okay, this happened, or this person stopped, or, I just feel stuck. Like I can't get past gold. Like, it's a whole year, and, a year when you're really building this business, you do feel like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And it's, and she'd always say to me, ask yourself this question. Is this obstacle or person or situation going to stop you from, having John come home from work, or putting back money for Joel, or whatever my goal was, spending more family time? Is this person, am I going to allow this person to stop me from reaching my goal? And the answer was always no. And so when I would just take a step back and say, you know what, whether they decide to join me on this journey or not, or whether this person decides to enroll with me or not, they're not going to stop me from getting to where I want to go, because I want to have this financial freedom. I want to have this time freedom. I want to be able to spend more family time. I want to be able to have my greater world purpose and do this. And so that has always been a huge, every time that something happens, that was a huge thing I would ask myself, and it would just totally change my mentality. And I'd take a step back and I'd say, no, it's not going to change it. I'm still going to do this. And that's how I would mentally prepare myself when things like this happen, and then just get right back at it.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. That just shows how much you really owns your own process and your own destiny in your business endeavors. And that, I think that is really what makes or breaks whether people will succeed or not, is whether or not they will measure their ability to succeed based on what circumstance they're in, or what other people are doing or not doing. And I think a lot of times people kind of get in this mindset of they're looking for evidence to support whether or not they're succeeding or failing. And if they see some things not work out or some people not work out, they see that as evidence telling them that they're not meant to be in this business, or they're not going to be able to progress. And they false assume that has anything to do with their ability to succeed. And those that I see really succeed are the ones that have that realization that it doesn't matter what one person or one situation or one bad month or one class or, that doesn't, or no show, or, those bad experiences, those negative experiences, those what we might label as failures along the way, don't determine whether or not we can succeed. And it really just determines on whether we're willing to go, okay, that didn't work. Let's go to work problem solving, and let's go find new people. And like you said, let's go give birth, rather than continually trying to raise the dead. Like, there's always more people, and I'm in control to go. I can always go. I can always shift my strategy and do something else. And there's always a path forward if I'm willing. And it's that personal ownership that makes such a difference. So I love that you brought that point out. It's so key. Okay, if you could give a summary of what doTERRA and the process has done for your family and how it has changed you. And I love that, Lindsey was really talking a lot about that financial need in the beginning. And then you kind of got that other side where it was the time need, that maybe there was a time deficit in your life, even if there wasn't a financial deficit, and how, equally important both of those were, and they're so interlocked, finances and time. So I know that has been somewhat of a shift for you, but if you could look back to where you were pre-doTERRA and kind of what the business and your involvement in it and your journey has done to shift and change things for your family, how would you describe that?
So first, the oils have totally changed the way we take care of ourselves. I wasn't a natural person before. So I have, for the past almost 3.5 years, my children have totally transformed to only knowing how to use natural stuff. And so this is huge for another generation. Like, they're only learning how to take care of themselves naturally. And for me, that was super, super big. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was time. So we are now, 3.5 years in, and John is down to 4 days a week. So he doesn't work Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. He can travel with us now. And we can do this together as a team. I would say a shift for him happened when we were in the Dominican. I won the trip, 2 years ago? And he understood the power of that this was legit. And he met other men that were, very, had great professions, that had brought good incomes to their family, that had chosen to join their wives in doTERRA. And he realized that this could be a team effort. And when he joined and we did this together, it has totally helped support this whole growth of our whole team. And so I would say our time, it really has freed up our time. Of course, financially, financially is huge. It's been a huge blessing for us. We now are able to give way more than we ever thought was possible. And even more so, I can see it happening in the future. So that's what's even more exciting, is because I can see where this is leading for us and helping. We have many things that we have on our bucket list of people that we want to support and things that we want to do, all across the world to really change the world. And so those two things, well, actually those three things have been huge for us, for our family overall.
That's awesome. I love too that those initial reasons why we get started, we have like that why, we have that purpose.
They grow.
And they grow because, your original goal was to put money aside for your son to be able to support him in his future. And you've far surpassed that. And so how does that feel to even have that weight off your shoulders?
Okay. It's like huge. It's huge. And you have to understand too, I've been a mom for almost 12 years, a stay-at-home mom. And so for me to, and I know this, we're not saying that we don't contribute, because we do. And of course, my husband never makes me feel like I don't contribute, but be able to say, hey, listen, I can contribute in these other ways is a huge blessing, for all of us. And to show my kids that whatever you put your mind to and whatever you really work at, you can accomplish. And that's been huge, because Diamond Club, they were like, Mom, you think you can win this? And I'm like, we're going to win this. We're going to work hard. And we did it. And then Diamond, they can see, okay, we did this together as a family. And so that's been huge. And it really is a family effort. Like she was saying, they travel with us. They had to go to classes with me, even now they come and go to classes with me. It's a family effort that we all did this together, for sure.
Yeah. And sometimes it's so easy to look at all the ways we're sacrificing, and our kids are sacrificing, and our spouse is sacrificing, but then we forget that they're being given such a gift too. There's a gift in those sacrifices. There's a gift in sacrificing for something great and watching the reward happen. And what a gift for both of you to be able to know that your children have watched you do hard things, and they've watched you set a goal, and they've watched you dream, and they've watched you decide to go for it and to persevere through the tears and the hard days, and to see the reward. Like, I can't think of, there's very little in life that can reward with such a great gift in a parenting journey than to let our children observe and experience that and what it will do for their character growth in their lives. Absolutely worth the sacrifice and the hard work and the time away. It's awesome. Okay, Alisha, I'm going to ask you to pick a word as well. If you could pick one word to encompass and describe your doTERRA journey. I know you could probably think of a lot of words, but if you could pick one today, what word would you share with us? And why?
I would say perseverance.
Okay.
I just had to choose that no matter what, I was going to keep doing what I was doing. And so that's a daily choice. I mean, when I first got here, I was like, this is what a true diamond looks like, you know, in their workout pants and their tennis shoes and their hair up in a ponytail, because this is like for real. This is the everyday. I have to choose to work this business, fit it around your lifestyle, and persevere and not stop. And then, you know, tonight have classes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's an everyday choice. So just never giving up. And no matter what, I'm just going to keep doing it and lead by example. So I would say persevere was my word. We laugh because we have this vision of like what a diamond looks like, and then what, you know, we're supposed to act like. And I'm like, no, this is like for real. This is like real, no makeup, like hair up. Like we're just surviving some days. This is for real. This is how we are. So persevere. If I can do it, you guys can do it. Just, you have to keep at it. You have to persevere.
That's awesome. It's so true. I think I saw another new diamond, not from our team, post something in our diamonds group this week about, oh my gosh, I woke up like I'm a diamond now. And I realized I'm still the same person, and I still kind of am disorganized, and I'm still like real life in my sweatpants. And it doesn't magically all of a sudden life is completely different, but it's awesome and it's good, but it's real people.
But I will say this, you can say to people that the income is for real. So totally like, no, that is not, you're not really going to make, I'm like, no, it's for real. Like I can tell you it's for real now. And so that's huge, because then they see this is a real life person that I know personally, and if she can do it, I can do it. Yeah. I can do it. And so that's huge.
That is huge. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to ask you both as we wrap up a couple of questions. I want to ask you first, okay, maybe this feels like a premature question, maybe not, but as a brand new diamond, you know, you hit diamond, you got your first diamond paycheck, yay, you're almost wrapping up your first month as a diamond. Approaching the end of the year, thinking about what's ahead, can you share, I know that you probably can't give us the full picture, but can you share just a little bit about what you think is in store for you in the future with doTERRA? What do you want doTERRA to look like in the coming years? What's really on your heart that you want to create? Let's have Alisha go, because she's got her mic on right now, and then we'll shift over to Lindsey.
So I'd always visioned diamond. Diamond was what I'd always said. And then after I left Prague, I realized that, you know, not only diamond, but that I could see blue presidential in the next few years. But what does that really mean for my family? And that's what I had to step back for. And I really see that as us being able to go and support our team all across the world and to change lives all across the world. With doTERRA, with what God has for us to do in our lives, and to bless people beyond measure. And I see it, like I literally can see the path unfolding before us. And I think that's what's so exciting is that when you start realizing that God has put you on this journey for a reason, and that He is leading your path, and that and you just have to, like she said earlier, you have to work, you have to give the effort. This isn't just going to happen, but that when you do that and you give to people because you love them and you care about them with nothing, you want nothing in return, that it just comes back to you in, you know, fourfold. And so for us, I would say I could see, you know, in years to come that we'll be Presidential Diamond, and we'll be able to help, you know, thousands and thousands of people all across the world. Crystal, hit 1 million people last night, I think, or yesterday afternoon.
A million TV.
And so I was thinking, you know what, like that 1 million people, like I can see us that doing the same thing in years to come. And so for us, I would say Prague kind of brought it all together for me, that this is just a journey and we have the tools to do the journey. And now we just have to give the effort, and the Lord's going to bless us. So that's where I see us.
Isn't it awesome to just realize, like, oh, this is so much bigger than me and my family, to realize you've been given a role where you can have a massive influence on people. It's incredible. I can think before doTERRA, we started a very small one-man business, my husband, and I remember one day standing in our kitchen, and it was when the economy was kind of crashing and people were losing jobs, and we said, wouldn't it be great if our little office supply business could someday employ someone? Like maybe we could actually provide like jobs to like a handful of people. That would give us so much reward. And then there was, then doTERRA came, and a few years later I stopped and realized how much bigger of an impact we could have than just like providing a few jobs. We could help influence massive amounts of people to have income and businesses. It's so humbling. It's so overwhelming. And it's such a privilege to have that ability to influence. So, okay, Lindsey, could you share a little bit about your vision from here on out, what you would like to see your doTERRA journey unfold into in the coming years?
I think, like Alisha said, I think especially being in Prague, it helped to make all of those higher ranks seem so much closer. Mm-hmm. Like, of course we keep moving forward. Of course we're working towards Blue Diamond and Presidential Diamond and beyond, because why would we ever stop? We do this because we love it, and we do it because we get to see lives changed all around us. And so I think for me, just in this particular season of building our business, I really want to see leaders on our team become diamonds. And that's kind of my biggest passion and heart. We've had a lot of people working alongside us for a lot of years who have poured in every bit as much effort and energy as we have. And so I just want to see them all hit their goals and be where they want to be, and to get to be a part of that journey for them is such a privilege. And I'm so grateful that we get to walk that with them. And so I would say that is definitely a huge piece of what I see in the next season. Another piece of what I see is I think already in our business, doTERRA has helped to make the world seem a much smaller place, where it really is possible for our impact to absolutely stretch around the globe. And so I have a lot of excitement and anticipation just to see, walls falling down and opportunities opening up for serving people in a bigger way, and kind of in that global perspective. So I'm super, super excited for that piece as well.
That's so awesome. I love that your vision for even those higher ranks has so much more to do with watching your team succeed and hit them. Sometimes I hear people say, I'd like to get to platinum or diamond, and that's good enough for me. I don't need anything more than that. And I think, well, that's great that that's what you want for you, but that means that you're content letting people sit at elite and never move past that on your team, because you feel like that's good enough for you. And it might sound like a noble thing to say, I don't need any more, I can be content with that. Contentment's awesome, but I want more for those on my team, and I want to see them all succeed like you do, Lindsey. And I can't even tell you, like, when I see you and Alisha hitting your goals and being diamond, like, that's more exciting to me than when I felt, when I hit diamond. So it's contagious. Like, you don't ever want to stop, because you don't want to stop on your people, Exactly. And your commitment to leadership is really evident, both of you. Okay, I know we're at 11 o'clock Mountain Time. And so we want to wrap up, but I have one last quick question. If we could just kind of make this like let's say a 1-minute response from each of you. Those that are watching this and feeling like, I want to get where they are, I want to be a diamond or maybe beyond someday, but I know it's hard, I'm struggling, I can't really see the path before me. Now that you have traveled that journey and you've gone through the ups and downs, you could pick your top piece of advice for today. What little blip of wisdom would you tell someone in that position? Let's do at least Alisha and then Lindsey again. Alisha, what would you choose?
So it'd be a combination of just a couple of things. Just you have to keep sharing. Keep planting the seeds, and then you're going to just keep watering them, and eventually they will come back and you'll get the harvest, like she was talking about earlier. And then you're going to have to keep teaching classes and saying, you know what, I'm going to do this no matter what, and keep teaching classes and keep sharing with people over and over and over. And you'll see the reward come. it might not seem like when you want it to, it might not come at your pace, but sometimes harvests like that, sometimes it'll take a couple years before you see the return. But you'll be glad that you did if you just keep at it. So just keep at it. Get with your upline and get a strategy, get a plan, and try to have those weekly mentor calls if you can. And that's going to keep you focused on what you need to do, and how to it's just small steps to where, to get you to the big goals. But it's the everyday crazy diamonds like this that, doing those small things, those follow-ups and those samples and those teachings get you to be diamond. So do those things. You'll be here too.
Yes. I think so often people think there's one missing silver bullet that they're missing. There's one like big thing that they think, I don't know the secret, like what's the secret people are doing? And there's no secret, there's no silver bullet, there's no magic formula. It's consistency on the little things, and it's consistency, perseverance. And I think it's pretty evident as we're listening to Alisha. I think you would all agree that we're hearing that message of just like repeat. Like you're not doing anything new and different. You're just doing the same thing again and again, and it feels monotonous, but repeat. And that's what builds the momentum and keeps those little nudges forward. Okay, Lindsey, what would you leave us with? A little bit of wisdom from your journey.
I think my encouragement would be, especially if you are in that place where you're feeling stuck, or if you're, wondering, could I ever get there? I would just encourage you to make it all about loving and serving people, because the times when I was most stuck in my business were the times that I was most focused on hitting that goal or that rank, and really kind of getting consumed with, okay, how do we make it happen, and losing sight of really loving and serving people. So if we keep it, just stick with the basics. We're giving samples to people who need the hope of our essential oils. And if we keep it about sharing that hope, and if we keep it about serving people, creating opportunities for growth and healing in the lives of people around us, it's going to do two things. It's going to help us to stay encouraged, because you can't help but see miracles. When you're sharing oils, you see miracles, and that's encouraging. And you're going to see lives changing. And those are the things that, when you're starting to feel stuck, that's really the lifeblood of what we do. And so I agree with Alisha, stick with the basics, share your samples, teach your classes, and help people to change their health. And all of the other pieces are going to fall in line if you do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so good. Those times when we start to get so self-focused on our own rank, our own progress, and our own frustrations, and trying to force, it's kind of just like this toxic thing that comes into our process, and we get stuck, and it feels like a catch-22 because we need to push to get unstuck. But then if we get so focused on that, it breeds this spirit of desperation, and then no one wants to join us in our business, and then our business gets more stuck. It's really hard to break out of that cycle sometimes, but it's that internal shift. And it's, again, that step of faith and trust to say, I'm going to go out and just share these oils and find new people to talk to and help them at that very grassroots basic level to just have their oil experiences. And that fuels everything in the process. And there's just something to say about when you are putting others first and serving, like that's honored in what happens in our business. And I love that process just keeps us aligned, in our hearts and where we should be. So thank you so much for sharing that. I have a feeling there's people that need to hear both of these things today. They need to hear to trust the process, be consistent, look at what they're doing daily, and trust that those seeds are going to grow if they keep planting and watering, and that they need to shift from that focus on their own goals and just begin serving again. And I have to remind myself of that a lot, because it can be really easy to fall off track in that service mindset. And it's a really beautiful thing to begin to do. It's a wonderful shift to make, to go, okay, who can I serve today? Who can I bless? Who can I help? So, okay, I've kept you both a little bit too long. I know you're busy diamonds with big teams, and I need to let you go. But thank you so much for being willing to share your time in different time zones and to get on together and let us learn from you. I feel inspired. I feel so blessed to be partnered with both of you, and want to wish you the best for a strong end to 2017. I can't wait to see what happens with both of your teams in the coming years. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Tanya.
Yes. Thank you.